Well, guys, Nissan's gonna have to get serious with this 400Z or else. I've been putting some of the details together in my head as I try to decide on whether I'm gonna need to pick one of these suckers up or not. Well, there's a few things that Nissan is gonna have to do to get me on board with this thing, so I'm gonna dig into it. I was a big fan of the 300Z when it came out. I mean, look at this one on Haggerty.com. The wheels obviously aren't factory, but the lines of this thing are just sweet. It looks fast, sitting still. A good friend of mine showed me a picture in a magazine in 5th or 6th grade, and I fell in love with it. Needless to say, he eventually got one in high school, and I moved on to V8s. When the 370 came out, I gotta say, I wasn't really that big of a fan of it. I just didn't really like the body style from factory. I was already kind of into V8 cars, but now that I've kind of grown more of an appreciation for the VQ37 and seen what some people were able to do with these 370s, I've gained a stronger appreciation for the car. But let's be honest, guys, the 370Z has been literally the same car for years and years now at this point. So when news broke that the 370Z was going to be revamped, renamed to come back as potentially the 400Z, my interest was piqued, and I've done my best to stay away from all the articles and all of the YouTube videos about the car, so I could give kind of an unbiased, uninfluenced take or perspective on this vehicle coming out, but more importantly, what I hope Nissan does in order to regenerate some interest in this vehicle going forward. Ultimately, what they need to do with this car to get me to buy one. We are in a great era for cars right now. Innovation is on high, competition is fierce. I mean, we got the C8 Corvette, the Supra is back, totally redesigned, partnered with BMW. EcoBoost Fords are making outrageous power. The Mazda Miata is revamped. The Subaru BRZ, for example, is out. It was time for Nissan to do something different. Leave it to them to be well behind everyone else, and this is kind of a reactionary move in my opinion, but it needed to be done. Like I said, the 370 has been the same forever, and they just needed something. We know Nissan Infiniti as a brand is struggling. Both brands technically are struggling a bit, so hopefully this can revitalize them, but that's not the topic of this video today. Just a couple of quick notes from a quick search, one article search. What do we know about this car? It's likely going to be named the 400Z, which makes sense. It's kind of an evolutionary thing. It's going to apparently be equipped with the 3.0T, the VR30 3.0 liter twin turbo engine that the Q60 and new Q50 has. That also makes sense. It's sort of the, I don't want to say flagship engine, but it's kind of, you know, it's their performance, regular level, non-GTR performance engine right now. Car and Driver anticipates the price range to be between 40 and 50, mid 40s to mid 50,000 range, with, you know, the regular 370Z up to the Nismo being in that $50,000 range. And also they anticipate the Nismo version to have 400 horsepower like the Q50, Q60 Red Sport. They also anticipate having the regular 7-speed automatic transmission be available, and they said they hope it's paired with a 6-speed manual option. Fingers crossed. And that's basically it. That's basically all I got. Like I said, I tried to minimize the influence that I've taken in on this car before I made this video, so let's go for it. We've all seen the advertisement with the silhouette of the 400Z, and it looks pretty sweet and sleek. And if it is anywhere near what the images that Car and Driver used for their article, that yellow one, it's gonna be sick. This is the rendering from Car and Driver that I was talking about. The blacked out grille, potentially even carbon fiber, looks really nice. The brake vents in the front bumper are practical. The headlights are whatever, but overall, really sweet looking car. This one holds closely to the original look of the 370Z, but is reminiscent of the GTR as well, which I'm not mad about. This one from carsguide.com hits me in a particularly special way. I love the simplicity of the grille. The bumper is wide with those aggressive brake ventilation vents. The headlights are more aggressive, and God, I hope that Nissan picks a wheel as nice as these. Even this rendering from motor1.com isn't even that bad. The front fascia is a bit different, and the headlights are ugly-ish, but they are a little bit more reminiscent of the 240. The overall look of it isn't bad at all, pretty sleek. I just hope to God they don't ruin it by taking cues from the Ultima or the Maxima, like this rendering from topspeed.com. Oh my God, look at that Ultima. Gross. Now, Nissan has a real knack for putting garbage wheels on their cars, and God only knows what they're going to choose for this 400Z. We can only hope that they are acceptable. Overall, though, the renderings that I've come across have given me a lot of hope for this 400Z. I'm pretty excited about how the car is going to potentially look. The body lines are sleek. As I said before, the car looks nimble yet aggressive. They didn't sway too far from the original look of the 370, which is nice, but it is a clear update, and I actually like how they've paid a bit of homage to the 240Z, which is really cool. I mean, look at this thing. This has to be one of my favorite renderings, a side-by-side glimpse of the 240 and the new 400Z. Classic vintage track car look, beautiful sloping rear with an extended nose. It just looks like it wants to be driven fast. And if they could produce a 400Z that looks like this, I'm all in. So we still have the main question of this video. What does Nissan need to do to make me want one of these cars? My hope is that it comes from the factory aesthetically pleasing. In other words, I hope that we don't need to add a bunch of stuff to make this thing look good. We have to keep in mind that there's going to be aftermarket support, but it's going to take quite a while. This is a totally redesigned version. It's a new car, essentially. So wheels, I hope they put nice aggressive wheels on it, even though they're easy to replace. I don't want to have to get this car and start changing a bunch of stuff on it. I think if they stick to the silhouette that we saw at the beginning of this video, they'll be in good shape. I would also say mimic the classic lines of the 240, but don't lose what the 370 has become. A modern twist on a classic is always a good move. Just please don't take any design cues from the Nissan Altima or the Maxima. Please don't. Now, if you want to take a little bit of influence from the GTR, I'm good with that. I'm good with the engine choice, the 3.0T. It's a logical move for this car, and there's a ton of potential. It seems to be perfectly fitting. It also makes sense and is quite typical to leave a little bit of wiggle room for the Nismo trim. Save the manuals applies here. This car absolutely needs a 6-speed manual option, but God help me if they don't put a dual clutch automatic transmission in this car. They've lost their damn minds. They are so far behind when it comes to putting a dual clutch in a performance vehicle aside from the GTR. I don't know what the hell they've been thinking over the years. And on this same point, if they don't put an LSD in this car, I'm done. I'm out. We know Nissan Infiniti has used LSD in the past, and I just can't imagine that they wouldn't put one in this new 400Z. It only makes sense. And having an open diff in a car like this that is supposed to be performance oriented just doesn't make any sense. So I doubt there will be, but an all-wheel drive option for this car would be pretty sick. If there isn't, I'm not going to hold it against them, obviously, but it'd still be cool nonetheless. I hope to 8-pound, 5-ounce baby Jesus that they put a decent set of tires on this thing from the factory. All of us Q guys know these run flats that come on the Q50s are trash. So it wouldn't surprise me if they choose to do something dumb like that. But my fingers are crossed that they put a performance tire from the factory on the 400Z. Don't even bother with that adaptive DOS suspension nonsense. Just give us a little bit of a stiffer spring, a little lower center of gravity, make it handle nice in the corners, okay? And I'm not gonna hate you if you put a nice brake upgrade with a slotted rotor, even on the lowest base model. And how about a really significant brake upgrade for the Nismo version? Let's make this thing sweet. Now, although this brand has quite a following, and the Z specifically has quite a following, it's not the Corvette, it's not the Supra. It doesn't quite have the iconic status of some of these other cars that have come out and demanded huge dealer markups. So I anticipate the sticker price on these cars to be kind of right in this range, that 40 to 50K range. So am I gonna buy one of these things when they are released? Well, if they check all the boxes, probably no. Now, I say that because I don't anticipate paying cash, and I'm completely against leasing. And because I don't really want this, or I wouldn't want this car as my daily driver, financing is out. Besides that, a bunch of guys have already said they're going to get their hands on these. Enthusiast POV actually is one of them, who said he's trying to make some moves to make it happen for 2021. So there's going to be a bunch of people doing a bunch of different things, and I think I would just kind of flood the market. I get it. flood the market, I guess you'd say. There'd be one too many. But maybe we'll wait for a year or two. We'll see what some of these guys are able to do with this car and how they're able to personalize it and customize them and make them their own. And then maybe we'll get one, especially considering, depreciation is a thing, and they're going to drop significantly in price, and I think we could probably get a good deal after a year or two, and who knows, maybe we'll buy a wrecked one. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the 400Z, and if you think that seeing one of these on the channel would be something that interests you. For now, I'm just going to keep working on this sucker. I look forward to seeing what we get out of her. As always, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the continued support. Leave a comment, thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate it, guys. See you in the next one. If you're interested in watching more, I have well over 100 videos dedicated to the Q50 VQ37 platform. The 2 videos to the left are just a couple examples of those, and don't forget to hit the little icon on the bottom right to subscribe. Thanks, guys.